Okay, let's talk about something incredibly frustrating. Have you ever felt like you are doing everything right? You're eating clean, you are not skipping your workouts, but that stubborn belly fat just will not go away? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the one hidden hormone that's probably sabotaging all your hard work. You know the feeling, right? You're meal prepping, you're hitting the gym consistently, you feel like you are following the rule book to the letter. But that fat, specifically around your middle, it just doesn't care. It's like you're just spinning your wheels. It's this crazy making cycle. The harder you push, the more it feels like your body just digs in its heels and holds on even tighter. It's a paradox that makes you want to just throw in the towel. But what if I told you the problem isn't about working harder? What if the real enemy is something you haven't even been thinking about? To really get what's going on, we have to look past the usual suspects of calories and exercise. There is a master switch at play here, a really powerful hormonal key that could finally unlock the results you have been working so hard for. And that culprit? It's a hormone called cortisol. Now, you've probably heard of it. It's the stress hormone. But what you might not know is that it acts like the master controller that literally decides whether your body stores or burns that deep, stubborn belly fat. When cortisol is chronically high, I'm telling you, no amount of dieting or exercise is going to make a dent. Now, we need to be really clear here. We're not just talking about that jiggly fat you can pinch. We're talking about something way more dangerous: visceral fat. This stuff is the internal fat that wraps itself around your vital organs, your liver, your intestines, and it actively pumps out nasty inflammatory chemicals that can cause serious health problems. So this leads to a really interesting question, right? If cortisol is floating around your whole body, why does it seem to have this personal vendetta against our stomachs? Why doesn't it just store fat everywhere else? Well, the answer is actually baked right into our biology. And here it is. This is the big aha moment. Your visceral fat cells, the deep belly fat, they have 4 times more receptors for cortisol than any other fat cells in your body. Think of them like little parking spots. So when you're chronically stressed out and cortisol is flooding your system, it's like a heat-seeking missile. It locks right onto those receptors and screams at your body to store every last bit of energy right there in your belly. Your body is literally hardwired to do this. So, okay, if high cortisol is the problem, what on earth do we do about it? Well, the good news is there is a clear game plan. Let's dive into 3 really powerful ways to get your cortisol levels down so you can finally start seeing the results you deserve. So we're going to tackle how to fix your training, how to get a handle on your caffeine habit, and how to put back the crucial nutrients that stress just leaches from your body. First up, let's talk about training. Look, if your life is already a pressure cooker, a punishing HIIT session can actually make things worse. It's literally like pouring gasoline on that cortisol fire. So instead of pushing harder, let's work smarter. Try swapping some of that intense cardio for a brisk walk, especially out in nature. Or focus on heavy strength training, but, and this is key, with longer rest periods to let your body recover. And hey, don't underestimate the power of that walk. Seriously, studies have shown that just 20 minutes spent outside in a natural environment can drop your cortisol levels by up to 20%. That is a simple, free, powerful tool you can use every single day. All right, step 2, the caffeine curfew. Look, I get it, I love my coffee too, but every single cup triggers a cortisol spike. And if you're drinking it late in the afternoon, you're basically keeping your body in that stressed out, fat-storing mode all evening, which totally messes with your sleep. So the rule is simple. It's non-negotiable. No caffeine after 2 p.m., period. And third, we've got to restock the nutrients that stress burns through like crazy. Chronic stress torches your magnesium. That's the mineral that basically tells your nervous system to just chill out. And it drains your vitamin C, which your adrenal glands need to recover. So you've got to load up. Think leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, and citrus fruits. But you know what? All of that is secondary to what I honestly believe is the secret weapon in this whole fight. You cannot willpower your way through this if this next piece of the puzzle isn't locked in. And I'm talking, of course, about sleep. The effect of sleep on cortisol is just staggering. Just one single night of bad sleep can spike your evening cortisol levels by 37%. Just think about that for a second. One bad night can completely cancel out a perfect day of diet and exercise, telling your body to store fat instead of burn it. So we have to get really serious about sleep hygiene. Here's a super simple protocol. Cool your room down to around 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 Celsius. Power down all your screens at least an hour before bed. That blue light is a direct signal to your brain to keep pumping out cortisol. And finally, you have to actively calm your nervous system down. A fantastic way to do this is with something called box breathing. It's so simple. You just inhale through your nose for a count of 4, you hold your breath for 4, you exhale slowly for 4, and then you hold at the bottom for 4. Just doing this for a few minutes manually downshifts your nervous system and gets you ready for deep restorative sleep. Now, before we wrap up, I want to shine a light on a few hidden traps. These are things that a lot of really health-conscious people do that accidentally sabotage their efforts by keeping their cortisol sky high. First, these extreme calorie deficits. Starving yourself sends a famine signal to your body. Your body panics and cortisol spikes to preserve energy by storing fat. Second, be really careful with hours and hours of long-distance cardio. It can be a massive stressor on the body. And finally, please don't ignore the micro-stresses, those constant phone notifications and email pings. They keep you in this low-grade state of fight or flight all day long. So, what's the big takeaway here? Well, it means we really need a fundamental shift in our entire mindset when it comes to losing this very specific type of fat. This pretty much sums it all up. Getting rid of this stubborn fat isn't about punishing your body with more workouts and fewer calories. It is about calming it down. It's about lowering the stress, fixing your sleep, and starting to work with your body's natural rhythms, not constantly fighting against them. When you focus on lowering cortisol, you finally stop fighting your own biology and you start working with it. So the real question is, are you ready to make that shift? I really hope this explainer has given you the tools you need to get started.